Yahoo, konnichiwa, my name is Abby, I went to high school in Japan, and today we're talking about bugs. Like, there's a reason Japan invented Pokemon. Japan might be known for sakura, or beautiful summer festivals, but Japan is also known for a number of creepy crawlies. So let's start with giant spiders. So in high school, one of my host families owns a 200-year-old sake brewery. And the house itself is absolutely surrounded by rice fields on every side. When I lived here, my host mom specifically told me, don't kill the spiders. In Japan, there's a superstition that you can only kill spiders at dawn and dusk. Otherwise, it's disrespectful. She also said not to kill the spiders because they help take care of other pests like gokiburi, centipedes, etc., etc. And there's two types of Japanese spiders that you should know about specifically. A spider you will see a lot of in any sort of forest or countryside is the jorogumo. This is the animal behind the Pokemon Ariados. These spiders live in these massive nests, often hanging between trees, but you're really unlikely to encounter them pretty much anywhere else. They move very little and they've never really caused me any problems, but they're actually really beautiful because of their vivid colors. If you get a chance to look at one, take a picture. The other one you should be wary of is the Ashitakagumo. These are a type of huntsman spider and the largest in the country. They can be the size of your palm. And I've seen ones the size of your palm. I have never seen any in Tokyo, but at my family's house in the middle of rice fields, there were a lot. My exchange student friends in the countryside, I also knew someone who had one in his room on the wall. Imagine just a huntsman spider peeking out from behind a pink bed curtain. The good news is they're basically harmless to humans and never really mess with them. My host parents also warned me about them when I first moved in, but they told me not to worry about them because they're friendly. Oh, of course, what could be friendlier than that? Looks like a puppy. Thanks to living in the countryside in Japan, I overcame my fear of spiders, and now me and spiders are pretty chill, but what do you think?
多分僕らは何回だってきっとそう何年だってきっとさよならと共に終わるだけなんだ仕方がないよきっとお帰り思わずこぼれた言葉は違うな一人で迎えた朝にふと思う誰かのこと二人で過ごした日々の当たり前がまだ残っている悪いのは君だそうだっけ悪いのは僕だ
Yahoo, konnichiwa, my name is Abby, I live in Japan, I'm fluent in Japanese, and I'm back to tell you more things you didn't notice about Silent Hill F. Go watch the other video on my page first, then come back for this one. Now, the main B plot point of Silent Hill F is Kitsune no Yomeiri. Translated directly, this means the fox's taking of a bride, or the fox's wedding. In Japanese folklore, Kitsune no Yomeiri means one of two things. Number one is if it is raining while the sun is out, a sun shower. This is said to be a favorite time for foxes to have their weddings. Second one, which I think connects more to Silent Hill F, is ghost lights. Deep in the forests of Japan, you can see ghost lights floating through the trees. In ancient times, people thought those looked like a wedding procession walking through the forest. They decided to call this phenomenon Kitsune no Yomeiri. So why did they go with foxes? Why couldn't it have been a human wedding? Well, foxes in Japanese mythology are considered tricksters. They're messengers of the gods, and they also have a lot of power, but they're not quite human. They kind of serve a role like elves in Western folklore. Never trust a fox. One theory as to why ancient Japanese people decided to call this Kitsune no Yomeiri is because the ghost lights, when you see them moving through the forest, if you approach them, they disappear and you realize there's nothing there. You've been tricked by the foxes. Never trust a fox! Never trust a fox! What's unusual about this is that actually typically in Japanese folklore it is a fox disguising themselves as a woman because they're shapeshifters in order to trick a human man into marrying them. Just another little prank that foxes like to play. In Hinako's case, it's kind of a metaphor for the way that marriage worked in 1960s Japan, in which the woman is expected to enter her husband's home, take on her husband's identity, and work with her husband's family, fundamentally leaving her own identity behind, which was actually not traditionally the case in Japan. For hundreds and hundreds of years, most married couples lived separately in their own home, or the husband entered the woman's family more often. But during the Showa era, which is when the game takes place, is when things started to change. Now that we've got all that background out of the way, let's talk about Tsuneki Kotoyuki. Tsuneki Kotoyuki is written like this. First of all, these kanji are super obscure, even though his name isn't that rare. So let's break this down. His first kanji, tsune, can also be read as jo. You'll find it most commonly used in things like nichijou seikatsu. It means habitual, constant, everyday. The second one here, being pronounced ki, is yorokobi. This means joy, to be pleased, to be delighted. However, written together, they are uncommonly pronounced tsuneki, which is a play on the word kitsune, fox. So his last name means typical joy. but it means fox. And we know that kitsune no yomiiri is an illusion. So maybe this everyday happiness is too. I think this constantly delighted thing also plays into his character and how he refuses to react the entire time in a normal way to the situation. He continues to be calm and smiling and friendly, even as Hinako does awful things to herself in order to proceed with the wedding. That's part of what makes his character so eerie. His first name is made up of the characters su and shiawase. So su, here pronounced koto, in general means long, as in longevity, as in long life, long marriage, long happiness. Fun fact, it's also the original way to write sushi. But something that blew my mind when I first saw this kanji is that is the exact same kanji that is typically written on Japanese ceremonial wedding notes. When attending weddings here in Japan, you are expected to bring a certain amount of money inside an envelope for the couple. You are expected to bring it in this very traditional envelope. They are expensive, often very beautiful, and very decorative. And what is written on these traditional ceremonial wedding notes meant to celebrate the new couple's happiness and longevity? This mother's name. And the last kanji in his name? That's easy. It means happiness. Shiawase, everyday delights, married happily. That's his name. And it's a play on the word fox. And foxes always lie, and it's never real. Because none of it is real. It was never real. His actual name serves to explain that marriage may offer you on paper joyfulness and eternal happiness, but in reality there might be something much darker hiding behind that promise. I have so much I could go into. This game is crazy, you guys. I'm planning to make maybe 1 or 2 more videos, but ask me any questions you have in the comments and I will do my best to answer. We're in this together. I just really want to explain the monsters and the enemies in the game and what they mean.
Okay. Yeah.
We're in international relationships. Of course, he's twice my height.
We're in international relationships. 私の彼氏ちっちゃいけど。
We're in international relationships. Of course, I use him to learn English.
元彼喋ってたんだよね。
あれ、そうだっけ？
We're in international relationships. Of course, everyone asks me about the size.
実際どうなの？
言わない。
In international relationships. Of course, we are good in 2 different languages.
We're in international relationships. Of course, my major in college was international relations. 今度ダブルデートする？
行きたい！
ひなこはね、今日の方法だんだん早くなる、だんだん難しくなる、だんだん早くなる、だんだん難しくなる、だんだん早くなる、だんだん楽しくなる、だんだん早くなる、だんだん顔になる。